Week 5, man. And Diddy trial, got to talk about it, man. Kanye, I heard he was up there.
Well, it was shocking to everybody, but Kanye name was mentioned the day before that when the witness Jane was telling a story in which Puff had, I think he had attacked her at one time. He got mad and got upset with her. I think he may have put her in a chokehold or something when he found out that she went to one of the freak offs, but they said that it wasn't, it was a rapper who was married, and everybody, all the information that came out, it was pointing to Kanye West. And then it so happened the next day he comes up there. This is the same guy that got on, and I don't want to blow nobody else's platforms up, got on Drink Champs about a year or so ago before Diddy was arrested, talking about Diddy was a fed. You understand? F Diddy and all this other stuff like that. And then he talked all kind of crazy shit about Diddy. And that's how these dudes in this industry do, man. They ain't got no loyalty to themselves, bro. So by him going on that, and now they say him and Diddy made amends and stuff like that. Remember I think he did a t-shirt, a shirt or something to say free Puff and all this other stuff. So Kanye is on he's looking for the attention, and for him to be mentioned in the trial, and they didn't let it go through because the reason they didn't let it go through is because they said it wasn't pertinent to the charges that Puff was facing. So what happened? Jane had went to Vegas, and she was invited by allegedly Kanye West and his wife and them and everything like that. And they went to plays, they went to show, they went out to eat and everything. And then later on that night, they went to a hotel room. Whereas there's some other couples in there too and some other people. And there wasn't a freak off, but it was one of the guys who does the freak off with her there, and they were all sitting around watching and drinking while this guy was having sex with another sex worker or whatever like that, and while all them just watching him have sex and stuff. I guess it's some rich people industry that they do, but they were just sitting around watching this dude have a live porn section right there in front of them. You know what I'm saying? So she started talking about that incident in court. And that's how Kanye West's name came up, and which they didn't say his name, but they said his name because it was an objection done. You know how they do objection, rule, all this other stuff like that. So they said it was a rapper who's married. They gave a description of it, and it pointed straight to Kanye. And then it so happened the next day he goes up in the courtroom with Diddy and them son. That shit is crazy, bro. It seemed like that to me, if Kanye West is paying sex workers to have sex in front of him and his friends, ain't that sex trafficking? But it was done in Vegas. I think it may be legal in Vegas, though. I think that's legal in Vegas. Don't quote me on it, bro. But Kanye West, he would be facing sex trafficking charges if it was anywhere else. But in Vegas, I don't think it's, I think it's legal in Vegas, bro. So he may not have an issue. He may not have a problem. But does he have a license to do it? That's another thing. So if the federal government wants you, they'll figure out some kind of way to get you. But it was just so funny that how was his name or his likeness or whatever was mentioned one day, and then the next day he's up in court. That was crazy. Well, he was somewhat of a protege of Diddy's back in the day, even though he was working with what you call that motherfucker? Rockefeller, whatever that was, Rockefeller. Even though he was working with their ass, um, he was a protege of Diddy. He liked what Diddy did and everything like that. So he used to hang out, go to the parties, all that stuff like that. I'm not saying no freak off parties, just the regular parties. He wanted to be known. He was doing music for everybody, and he was doing music for Diddy. So I could see him being a supporter, but then when they all got big and started getting a lot of money and everything like that, they start going at each other crazy. You understand? And he felt like that because I believe Puff was the one probably introduced him to Kim Kardashian, if I'm not mistaken. I think Puff had something to do with him getting with Kim Kardashian. You know what I'm saying? Because she used to mess with a couple of dudes, a dude from BMF first, and she was around. So I would presume that Kim and Kanye West was all right back in the day. And then when they start getting money and they start going at each other and stuff like that, and then Kanye fell out with the Kardashians, and none of the people that he thought was supposed to be cool with him helped him. So he just started going at everybody. So it was strange after that whole drink trap. And then, when Diddy got arrested, he did say some things because the government, uh, he may look at the fact the government may come after him. So he may become an ally of Diddy's, but everybody that's gonna be around him gonna go down, man. This is crazy, man. You gotta realize that he has no way out of this, bro. He has no way out of this. It either had to be a mistrial or if it's a mistrial, they still go back to the drawing board. You understand? That don't mean he gets out of jail. They just do another trial date. So I believe, and my prediction on this, that was just all show for Kanye to come up in there. You understand? The jurors, if you know anything about the jury and having Kanye to support you, I don't even think that's a good thing. But maybe they think it is. It's gonna, throw something, you know, some kind of public opinion Diddy's way. It's stupid. That would be one of the last persons I would have coming up there to support me, knowing his relationship with the Jewish population, the stuff that he said about the Jewish population. Why would you have that man come up in the court and say anything in your behalf?
And the woman that testified that Kanye, he was a part of one of Diddy freak-offs, this is the same woman that's a baby mom of a famous rapper, right?
Yeah, it's Jane Doe. You can't mention her name, bro. You understand? Uh, she does have a child by uh, a well-known rapper. That's what they saying in court. That's what they said in court. But it's a 50-50 it's a 50-50 chance that you can guess it. Who that might be. Don't know. It's a 50-50 chance that anybody probably can guess who that might be. You know what I'm saying? You could probably order something to eat from Uber Eats and have it delivered to Queens to figure that one out. Don't don't know, bro.
I want you to listen to these voicemails by Puffy that he sent to, the baby mom that got the baby by the famous rapper. Listen to the first one where he calls her, crack pipe. That's the nickname he gave her because the sex was so good and he was addicted to it.
Hey, baby, we had a great time. Stay in the light. Um, it's all good. Get your rest. You are pipe. That's my new name for you, pipe. Or should I call you CP? But yeah, I want you to stay in the light. You know what I'm saying? We had a very, very good time together. Like so much, so much, so much, so much, so much fun. So much fun. Now go rest up. Get in your bag. Mwah. You know what I'm saying? Got your contract. Find a nice little spot. Put your mind at ease. And yeah, I had a great time. And I really, really want you to get some rest. I didn't know about you throwing up and all that. That's when I was like, hold up a second. All right, get some rest, baby. Love. So if you come in for 24 hours, yeah, you always wanted to set some up. So now you got the opportunity. So set some up for tomorrow night. That last vision we had was Don and ATL. See you put it together, baby.
Who that? Papa Pimp Diddy, Papa Pimp Diddy Diddy Pop. Diddy done turned to a straight pimp, huh, man? That's crazy. He was calling honey crack pipe. He was calling her crack pipe, man. He said it was like crack deal. Oh my God, man. Yo, but listen here, man. They got to stop throwing old boy name under the at that. He has stopped dealing with honey for a long time. You understand? Because you have a child by somebody, that don't mean that person represents you. You understand? You know, she was a sperm donor, basically. You understand? I feel sorry for the child. You know what I'm saying? I feel sorry for what the son might have to go through. You feel me? You understand? But, you know, everybody's, you know, because he who he is, I think half of us know who he is. Half of us know who he is. And that, and 50% of us don't know who he is. But he don't have nothing to do with honey, other than the fact that he's trying to safeguard his son because that's his son's mother. You understand what I'm saying? That's some whole psychological shit, man, that could F a kid up for life, bruh. That could F a kid up for life. But did he sound like some kind of Timu pimp on there? You understand? He sound like one of them Timu pimps. No game at all. But that's how he could talk to you. When you got a lot of money, I guess you could talk like that. But that shit was crazy corny, man. But they used that in court because they was talking about coercion. You understand? And by him, you know, leading them into that and having them like that, they was showing that, you know, he was Papa Pimp, Diddy Pimp, Papa Diddy Pimp. And that's what they got out of that shit, bro. That's crazy right there. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I just feel bad for the kid, bro. You understand? You know, I feel bad for her for having to think that she had to put herself in that type of position, you know what I'm saying? And allowing a man to coerce you to be in that type of position when you had other avenues that you probably could have went down. No, did he? Go down, went down. You know what I mean? So my whole thing about it was this, bro. She was taping everything. It seemed like when dude, she got so many tapes, it's a lot of tapes that they ain't let come in, bro. She has tapes on old boy that the trial would have been over. The trial would have been over. But they didn't let those things come in there. You could hear part of it, you know, they stop it, then they say, the defense team will jump up and say, objection, objection, this, that, and the third. When the prosecutor, you know, it's certain things they try to sneak in or have her talk about and hope that the defense will go down that road. But this trial would have been over a long time. Whereas that, and I still predict that he's going to ask them for a deal. He didn't take the first one. He's going to ask them for a deal. The only reason he hadn't did it yet, bro, the only reason he ain't asked for a deal yet is because he know they trying to take all his They trying to take whatever money Combs Global made, Bad Boy made, and bring it. If they didn't have that as being a part of this whole trial thing, he probably would have took the time. But because they saying that he used his money from his organizations, his companies, his incorporations, that they want to take everything because he uses money to commit crimes. So that don't sound like no boardroom shit. That sounds like some straight Timu pimp shit.
And listen to this second one where, he leaves a voicemail, mad that she was ignoring him.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to just give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know. You think you silent treating me, and you think I'm gonna be nah. You'll have a rude awakening. You'll just have silence, and ain't nobody threatening you. And I ain't trying to go back and forth with no woman. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, I ain't got no time for no motherfucking games. Where my life is at right now, I don't have no time for no games, baby girl. Me and you could be mad. I could have a spat. We could have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is. Cause you got me on my job. Nah, it ain't never gonna work like that over here. You know what I'm saying? I was trying not to leave this message, but you have left me no choice. Hey, so either you go in the direction of like moving on and shit like that, or you like just like have me just keep moving. Ain't no threat. I'm just being clear. I can't do this shit with you every time you get upset.
Papa Diddy, pimp, Papa Diddy, pimp, Papa Diddy, pimp, Papa Diddy, Puff Daddy. And lost his damn mind. Man, listen, he having a conversation with somebody that he dealing with right there, man. But I still don't see how that should affect somebody that somebody left alone. You understand? And had he not be who he was, people wouldn't be saying nothing about it. You understand? If it was just another Joe Blow who gave her a baby, nobody would be saying nothing like he should feel a certain way. I don't think he should feel a certain way for her and about her. I think he should feel a certain way that she allowed this dude to make her in something that she probably had in her. She probably had that in her already. And because if a dude like Puff can bring it out of you, you understand what I'm saying? You know, you had it in you anyway. That's money and that's prestige that's got you doing crazy shit. You understand what I'm saying? That ain't got nothing to do with what he's talking about. You understand? That ain't got nothing to do with game. You know what I'm saying? And then he's talking about, yo, you got a job. So evidently, they came up with some kind of contractual agreement that she has to do certain things. And he can't say that that's not a threat when he said, yo, you'll just come up silence. If you coming up silence, what you're dead? You know what I'm saying? That could be taken in a lot of different directions. Because then after he said you come up silent, and then he said, that ain't no threat. When somebody threaten you and say that ain't no threat, it's a threat. You understand? He dead wrong for that one. But to answer your question, I don't think old boy, other than something may have to do with the safety of his son, give two shits and a shake about what was going down with old girl. I don't think he have a problem with that one at all. You understand? That's Diddy talking to somebody he's dealing with. That's Diddy talking to somebody that's working for him, because evidently she's working for him. She's doing freak offs for him, whether she like it or not.
But can you imagine how her baby daddy feel listening to that, bro?
No, I can't imagine how he feel, bro. Because when you don't give a F about somebody, you don't have no feelings about them. Why would he have any feelings about that? You understand? You know, I don't understand how when you move on, you move on. You understand? You put certain things in God's hands and you move on. Dude don't have no feelings for her. If he did, he had enough money, he had enough time that he could have probably scooped her back up if he wanted her. I don't believe he wanted her. He was blessed with a son from her. Move on. I don't think it should be an issue. I don't think people should be coming up like that. And then I know what people are going to say. And Gene always taking up for or Gene is... Gene always taking up. You got to cut that out, bro. You hear me? You got to cut that out. All right? All right? Yo, Gene, I'm going to do it a different way. Gene always taking up for 50% of them niggas. You know what I'm saying? Them dudes. Gene always take up for 50% of them guys, man. You understand? But, you know, it ain't that. It's just the fact that, you know, you could tell in his life he moved on from that and he taking care of his son and he don't have nothing to do with this. You know what I'm saying? His beef is with, you know, more so you only doing this to spite me. You only treating this lady like this because you got a problem with me and you can't get at me. So you're going to take it out on my son's mother. And if my son is hurting from this, this is the only problem he would be having. You understand? If my son is hurting from this, if his son even knew about it, you understand? Then now you got to see me. Because you're doing this to be spiteful, brother. You could do it may be wrong, but you got a lot of other chicks you could probably do this to. But you're doing this to my son's mother. So I got a problem with that. And that's the only reason, the only thing I think this dude would have a problem with. You understand? If it ever comes back and his son has to be faced or know some stuff and it hurts his son. And oh boy ain't the dude that, and I know it changes over time, but these cats don't understand that people come out of retirement.
That's real talk, man. But tell me if I'm wrong, but the prosecutors, they the ones that asked for the voicemails to come out, right?
I said it earlier. What happened is that the defense opened the door for the prosecution to come in because they tried to make it seem like that Jane Doe that's on the witness stand, who's been on the witness stand all week, half of last week and all of this week. You understand? She just left earlier. Was it early yesterday night? Last night? She just left. Well, anyway, she's been on the witness stand. So what happened is that the defense tried to make it seem like after the Cassie lawsuit and everything like that, she was been making up lies and everything. So the prosecution is saying no, she's not making up lies because she said this way before Diddy got arrested and way before Diddy went to jail, and we didn't make her say this, and the defense was trying to make it seem like they made her say this. You understand? So had they would have opened up the door and the judge would have allowed them to listen to the tapes, that means all the stuff that she was saying to Diddy, all the things that she was saying back in 2023, before the arrest or before all this, yo, it would have been put into record. it would have been put up to, that would have been the end of him, bro. But the judge saved him. The judge saved him because it was case law in the federal court that saying that they couldn't bring that up because it had no bearings on what the prosecution, the defense team was saying to Jane Doe regarding her testimony and her testifying and receiving immunity from the prosecution. Because she got immunity too. All the witnesses up there that came up there, all of them, it's like 5 or 6 people got immunity, bro. They have immunity. So she had immunity, and they trying to say that because she has immunity, she's gonna come up there and lie on Diddy. But then the stuff that she was saying, she said it way before Cassie and a lawsuit that came down. She said it in 2023. So they was trying to, Miss Comey, she was trying to get that opened up, and the judge wouldn't open it up, which the defense team opened up the window, and they should have been allowed to hear the tapes, but the judge wouldn't have let them allow to hear it. So that's what that was about. That was about, if the prosecution would have got that tape in there, Diddy would have had to beg for a plea. He would have had to. It was no reason for them to go any further.
Why you think her testimony is longer than Cassie's? Because she's been up there for almost 2 weeks.
Her testimony is longer than Cassie's because you got to realize she is not only testifying for herself, she's testifying about some of the stuff that happened to Cassie. So it's like whatever Cassie said, she was going through the same thing. So the prosecution had to let the jury know that, okay, Cassie was sex trafficking. You understand? Which we only need one. That this has some bearings and this has some sex trafficking too, even though they was in love. Look at the same coercion. Look at the same I'm not gonna pay your rent. You understand? Or you're not gonna get your rent money if you don't do these freak offs. The same shit that she was doing with Cassie and the music and everything like that. That's why she was on the stand so long, because you think Cassie went through some stuff. She went through probably just as much stuff as Cassie, and she didn't have a 10-year run like Cassie. She went through just as much stuff as Cassie, brother.
How you feeling personally after hearing her testimony? How you feeling about the case?
My opinion on the case is that Diddy don't have a chance in winning this like an Ice Cube got a chance or a Snowball got a chance in hell. Right now, the people that they're going to bring in on this following week that's coming up, the grave has already been digged. You already got your coffin. They about to put the nails in it. And they're going to rest their case. I believe they might rest their case before the end of next week, bro. I don't think it's going to go another week or so. Not another 2 weeks. They was talking about July. No, I don't think it's the first week in July. I don't think it's going to go that far. I think it might go until the end of next week. I think the prosecution going to rest their case the end of next week because they're going to stick a fork in him. He's going to be done. I like I said before, I believe that if he had any sense, he might got money and stuff put away, jewelry and all this stuff in safety deposit box or whatever like that. His kids might have enough money, this, that, and the third. But I truly believe he's going to take a plea. You understand? I believe that he don't have a chance because they've already proven the sex trafficking with the with the prostitutes being paid. They've already proved coercion and racketeering by using your companies to pay for prostitutes, to pay for drugs. You understand what I'm saying? Um, I don't see his way. I don't see no way possible for him to get out of jail. I believe that the prosecution had already proven their case. That and some. They just about finna stick a fork in him to make sure he's done.
We gonna see. But I want to ask you about Diddy assistant Christina. You was telling me that she knew what Diddy was doing, right?
Well, listen here, man. Christine, D-Rock, and probably Paul are all co-conspirators based on the trial and what it went to and where it's been going. Now, 9 times out of 10, they might bring Christine Cohen in, way she has been brought up. She could tie everything together. She's saying that she didn't know about the freak offs, but yet still she had to clean up the hotel room and have people over there to clean up the hotel rooms. She had to pay the some of the prostitutes was paid in cash. She had to get the money for the cash and stuff like that. And the hotel people said that not one time that if it wasn't approved by Diddy himself, it had to be approved. Everything had to be approved by Christine. All the freak offs and everything had to be approved by her. So they're gonna bring her in, bro. They're gonna have to bring her in to tie everything up this week. So the defense can't bring her in, because if the defense bring her in, that gives the prosecution a time to like, yeah, okay, we can get her now. You understand? But if she come in for the prosecution, then that means she flipped on Diddy. That means she flipped on Diddy. And if she flipped on Diddy, we know she knows where to turn all the stones at. She knows how to turn all the stones. So she might have to come in as either a co-conspirator, and that means that, and that she's going to get immunity, and she won't be tried like Diddy if they have her as a co-conspirator. But if they have her as a co-conspirator, she won't be she'll be tried like Diddy. But if they give her immunity because she was a co-conspirator, she's gonna have to tell everything. Show them where all the things are hid. And she knows it because they said that she was his right-hand man, a right-hand woman. Then nothing moved without her. But she claimed, and she wrote a letter, that she didn't know anything about the freak-offs. She didn't know anything about anybody being abused, which was a lie, because Cassie said that she was there a time or two when Puff did some things. Or they had conversations on the phone about it. They had conversations on the phone about it, brother. So how's she gonna say that she didn't know nothing about it when she's got tapes that she knew something about it?
And I'm hearing that they found texts from Kim Kardashian, right?
Did they found Kim Kardashian? Oh yeah, like when they got those phones, bro, they did a trace on everybody who was having conversations and everything like that. So now, the Kardashians, Kim, all the people that had conversations with Puff, Cassie, what's her name, Christine, the personal assistants and everything like that. All that stuff, the feds have it. But I believe that they trying not to release certain things, bro, to save face on people for either their political power or their prestige in Hollywood. Because it's a lot of stuff that's not coming out that they have. And they just piecing it together. Piecing it enough so that the big wigs won't get in trouble behind it. And I believe it's some big wigs, bro.
So you believe they hiding some big names?
Yeah, bro. It's a you can't say that, you have parties with Prince Charles. You can't tell me that you have you got parties with all these these rappers, these politicians, and he don't have none of them on tape. And they took 265 tapes out of his 265 videotapes out of his house. You just got the stuff with Cassie and them on. Yo, did you know that? And I believe the federal government set him up on this one, bro. Is that they found the tape in Diddy's house. Well, Diddy found the tape in his house. Did you hear about that?
Nah, I ain't hear about that. Tell me about that.
After they did the raid and everything in one of his house, he found the tape. No, he found the phone. He found the phone in his house. After they did a raid in his house, he found one of the phones and he said that, yo, he called Christine Cohen. This is why she could be a co-conspirator too. He called her and said, yo, they left a phone. And this phone got a lot of stuff on it. Now, when they had a warrant for his whole video and his phones and all this stuff like that, you supposed to turn everything over. You supposed to turn everything over. He didn't turn it over. So now, what is he doing? He obstructing justice. The prosecution was trying to get that in, and because he had a phone call. And this had to do with that September the 9th, what I said it was the 6-9, that phone. This had something to do with that. So now they was trying to get that tape that he had said in his own words to Christine Cohen that he found the phone, like they had left the phone, or I believe they planted the phone, bro. They put the phone there and left the phone there. Just in case. There's no way they gonna raid your whole house. They gonna turn over everything and leave one phone. And then he found the phone. I think they was trying to bag him then. I really think they was trying to bag him. I think they was trying to bag him on that. So I believe that they were trying to get at him in a way whereas that if they lose the case, they could come up and say, yo, listen here. He was obstructing justice because he never turned over the tape. He never turned over the phone, and we got proof he had the phone. Listen to this. But the judge wouldn't let it in. It was for some reason from case law that the judge didn't let it in. If the judge had to let that in, that's obstruction of justice, plain and simple right there. That was real big. That was a big thing that happened this week. And I don't understand why the judge did not let that conversation with him and Christine. And the lawyers was trying to say that was client and attorney privilege information, but it wasn't. You understand? Because he called his personal assistant first. He didn't call his lawyer about it and told his personal assistant about the stuff that was on there. So they let that rock, and that's one of the things that the defense won this week. The defense won that this week, and it was crazy.
Damn, so you think they was trying to line him up then?
Yo, man, if you ever been in, well, I ain't gonna say you, but I've been in where you search somebody's house, they find everything, bro. You gotta have trap doors. If you got trap doors, they got all kinds of tools and x-ray things that they can look behind walls and all this stuff like that. And they left one phone. And that phone happened to have a lot of stuff on it. No, I believe the federal government left that on purpose. to try to get him in obstruction of justice.
Yikes. Yeah, that's crazy, man. But you personally, right? How do you think people view Puffy right now with everything coming out?
Well, my perception of the public opinion is that right now, I believe not only that I wouldn't say people hate him, people just think that he's probably one of the nastiest MFs that ever was in the industry. Ever. Ever, bruh. Some of the stuff that these guys are hearing that he's doing, I know they turn in their head that they was hugged up, kissing them all on the cheek. They kissing each other on the cheek and everything like that. I know these guys who used to probably party with him. You know what I'm saying? Uh, they feel disgusted because now, if you did an after party with Diddy, they know it's a possibility that you could have had another man energy on you. And I ain't talking about no energy drink. You could have had another man energy all on you. So now they looking funny, man. And then now with the fact that, you know, what he did to women and how he did women, which is disgusting. I don't know any pimp that I've known back in the past that did some of the stuff that he did. Dude was violent, bro. And I don't know if it was because that he hate women or he loved women. It's something that he really need to get some psychological help behind. But the public, he could never be in the public eye again, bro. He better go to Bali with Russell Simmons whenever he get out of jail. Because he could never come back from this, bro. Not at all. So guys are looking mad funny in the face now after all the stuff that this guy did over the years. And people been partying with him. And people been, going on trips, this, that, and other stuff. I even get the same thing, Mighty. People look at me like, yo, I don't believe he stayed clean. I don't believe he did this. He did something like, listen to me. Because I'm the one who choose to come out with the information and let people know what he was doing to the people around us. You understand? I'm not the only one that know this information. You understand? There were other officers there. You understand? And they didn't jeopardize their job like I didn't jeopardize my job. You understand? You do some things for the sake of security. You understand? But you don't jeopardize your job where you see somebody beating a woman and you don't step in and do nothing or say nothing or stop it. It just don't happen. When you respect who you are, you respect women, and you respect what you do for a living. Because I'm bodyguarding him, I might have to protect other people from him if I see him doing something that's stupid like that. That's my job. Not to allow you to get yourself in trouble or me. So when the people don't believe that I was that stand-up dude that didn't have a problem with checking him, see, they don't know the whole story, Mighty. They don't know that they offered me to be a bad boy security, a personnel, a bodyguard, and tried to say, yo, here goes $75,000 a year. I was making that doing part-time work with him. You got to be out your mind. I was a state parole officer. Base pay $89,000 with benefits. You got to be out your mind. I work for Elite Investigation, running 3 housing complex. 3 days out the week. I was bringing home $800 from there a week. All I did had to go was go do time cards and check in, do a couple of run up the elevators a couple of times, go down the stairways. I was all right. People just want to believe what they want to believe. It's not one of those victims on this court case or any court case that's going to ever say, and if they say it, it's going to be a lie. And I'm going to fight it all the way. Because I know it'd be a lie. That ain't my forte. I don't do freak offs, freak ins, freak outs, none of that. I did the freak Nick, but that's a whole nother story back in the day. Bro, listen, he wasn't doing that shit. See, he had stages in his life that certain people was around him. Puff, you understand? The early 90s, 89 to the early 90s. When Big came around, Puff Daddy. Daddy's house. After Big's death, Diddy. Diddy was around for a while. A little bit before Craig Mack them, Brother Love. After the death of Craig Mack and Black Rob, Love. He had 5 different personalities inside him, 5 different times. He was doing a lot of different things, bro. But when we had him, he wasn't that diabolical, and he didn't show us that. He was doing some crazy shit. You understand? He wasn't listening. He didn't listen about the big shit. He didn't listen about the city college shit. He did some crazy shit. But he wasn't doing that freak off shit around us, man. Not at all. Not around the same gang. I don't know of any time that he did it in any of the parties at Hamptons that I was in.
So where do you think this came from? I mean, you being around him at one point, him being a guy from Harlem. I mean, how did they get to this point where he's doing all this freaky stuff? Like, where did he get it from?
Drunk on power, brother. Old boy got drunk on power. Then he got high on his own supply. Be it the Sakak, be it the cocaine, the pills, the mollies. You talking about a kid that he wasn't doing that shit when he was younger, brother. You understand? I never saw Puff smoke weed, other than he took a hit one time we was in D.C. And then that's when he gave up his gold card and everybody got clothes and shit. Big convinced him to get everybody clothes. Me and D-Rock, it was our birthday. His was the 17th, mine was the 16th. And we got like 5 outfits, 5 different wears. And everybody else got one. And that was because I guess Diddy took us shopping then. Well, Puff took us shopping because he wasn't Diddy then. But the whole thing about it is that that's the first time I ever seen him smoke some weed. He wasn't doing all that shit. And now you see him in the clubs on Instagram or YouTube smoking weed, smoking cigarettes. People talking about he doing pink cocaine, licking frog toads and shit like that. All kinds of shit, bro. It was the drugs, man, that put him out there like that. It was the drugs.
Sad, man. You heard how Trump, he spoke on giving Puffy a pardon? You heard what he said about it?
He still would have, if he pardoned Diddy, far as I know, he would still have to go through the process. I don't think Trump is just going to send the marshals or the Department of Justice chief them over there to the fucking jail. Yo, get Diddy out. And when he had friends that went to jail. Remember, he had friends that went to jail who worked for him, who did some shit. What did he do? They went through the same process that every person go through and giving a pardon. And that might take a year, that may take 2 years. But he's going to have to go through the process first because I don't think Trump is going to show him any special favors for him not going through the process. So if Trump said that he may pardon him, he might still have to do a year, 9 months, or even longer than that. And I don't believe he is. I think 50 going to be right there in his ear. And I think 50 is closer than Trump than Diddy is. You know, if that's the president and he want to use his power to pardon Diddy, you understand? As long as he do his due process and go through where he's supposed to go to, I don't have no problem with that. Do I want him out? No, I don't give a shit. But I think that he should do the time he's supposed to do, whatever that might be.
A few hours ago, they announced that, the drug mule, the white boy that got arrested last year, the Diddy drug mule, they saying that he about to testify against him.
Man, Brendan Paul, who was one of Diddy's alleged drug trafficking mules. I thought when they caught him that it may have been some government agency or somebody that was feeding him the drugs. So they're going to know about how much drugs, they're going to know how much money that went through his hands to Diddy and from Diddy now. Now, when Diddy hears this testimony of this guy who was a former basketball player, I think he played ball at Syracuse or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Syracuse. Yep.
Yep. So him being caught at the airport, you understand, with drugs on him, who does that? All of it to me seems like a blatant setup. But he's going to be one of the witnesses for the prosecution. And he could tie up the drugs. He could tie up the drugs, bro. So now, this is what I believe. When he gets on the stand, he's going to tell what drugs he brought to Diddy. He's going to tell what drugs he was given, how much money he was given. And when he does that, how did they pay him? Even if one of the security person paid him, they still gave the money to the security person out of either the bad boy money or either out of Combs Enterprise or Combs Global. They used his businesses to purchase drugs, bro. When Brendan sit on that stand, it's gonna be the end of it, bro. It's gonna be the end of it. I predict that he probably stand up. Did he tell the government, man, listen, give me my time, bro. Give me something. I don't want to do this. And if they offer him 10 years, because they're going to double what they offered him at first. They was offering him 5 years. They might offer him 10. If they offer him 10, he better take it. Because if he don't, he going to be in the jail anywhere from 15 to 22 years.
And you called it too. You said that last year that they was going to use him to testify against Diddy. What you think about Diddy drug mule taking the plea deal?
What I believe and what I think, he wasn't just a drug mule. He was a plant. He's a CI. That's a confidential informant. He already had a case prior to him getting that case with Diddy and them. He probably already had a handler of somebody that he was just trying to work it out. And that's what he did. They're not going to give you a deal for nothing because you got caught with the drugs, because you say they was for Diddy and them. You got to give us something. Stevie Wonder could see that shit, man. They ain't take a blind, and you know what I'm saying? Yo, Stevie Wonder could see that shit, bro. It's crazy that everything is coming to pass, but it's all God's will, bro. It's all God's will.
What you think they're going to use it for?
They're going to use him for the drug trafficking and the transferring of the money coming from either Combs Global or Bad Boy Entertainment? Bro, he already had he had a case. He had a case. Somebody probably got in his ear. Yo, we can get this stuff thrown out. We can get you this, that, and the third. You ain't got to do no jail time. We just want you to go over here and see what they doing at Bad Boy, at Puff. Let them know you can get drugs and this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. He became a worker. He probably working for Puff and working some kind of CI at already. How they know he was going to be at the airport? They had a warrant for, the search of Diddy's home. He not part of Diddy's home. He a friend. He a visitor. How they know they was selling drugs? How they know they stopped him at the airport he was going to have drugs on him? It don't take a rocket scientist, bro. I'm going to get down to it like this, bro. My grandfather once told me back in the day, if a brick hits you, say ouch. And I had to look at that in a way, whereas that, if somebody is not saying anything directly to you or they not talking about you, you shouldn't have something to say. But I heard some things and I saw some things that was disturbing to me, that somebody sent me the video. I looked at it, and it was Cam and Mase, and here they go laughing again about the security the night Big lost his life, which was disturbing to me, bro. And the reason why it was disturbing with me because I was there and I know exactly what happened. Now, the reason I'm speaking on this and you allow me to speak on this on your platform is that because when people hear something about bad boy security, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was either Big Gene, Wolf, Paul. They had people that was behind the scenes, but the people out front was Big Gene, Wolf, and Paul. Myself, Wolf, and Paul. So when Mase and Cam are telling these stories of what happened, they are leaving names out. So people are actually saying something or thinking that might be Big Gene that's hiding behind the van or the Suburban during time of the shooting, which it wasn't. That might be Big Gene who's saying, I just want to go home, which it wasn't. That might be Big Gene that had an opportunity to bust his gun, but he didn't. All those things, bro, it's crazy to me that these guys will be continuously always bringing that shit up when, one, they're not telling the truth. Two, they're not naming names. And three, and speaking of Mase, played a big part in the whole situation. So, because Mase want to laugh and lie about the situation, let's get into it, bro. I want to get into this. I want to tell you that Mase had a duty and an obligation to his label mate, the notorious B.I.G., Christopher Latour Wallace. Mase had a duty as a label mate to tell Chris, these dudes want you dead. Prior to the Peterson Museum, Mase and Stevie J went to a celebrity basketball game. They let the dudes, I don't know if it was the dudes from the Dog Pound, it was the dudes that was Crips, They let Stevie J and Mase know we want Puff and we want Big. Mase felt like he was safe, laying down there, throwing up West Coast signs with them. Mase came back from that game. He let me know, and he let Puff know that he was good. They wanted Puff and Big dead. He told me, he told Puff. He never mentioned a damn thing to Big. As his label mate, he had an obligation. As a fellow New Yorker, he had an obligation to tell Big. And I don't want to hear about no, I don't want to snitch, I don't want to rat, I ain't got nothing to do with that shit. He had an obligation to tell Big, man, these dudes out here want you dead. They told me. Why didn't he? He's sitting around laughing, talking about security. Speaking on something that he was never there. He didn't attend. He said and told a lie he was in the room with Brandy. He was not in the room with Brandy. Because he said Brandy was calling me, trying to get me to go to the party with her. So you in the room with her, why is she calling you? She may have came to the room or y'all might have got together after Big got killed or y'all heard some stuff like that. But during that time to the party, she wasn't in the party with you. She wasn't in the room with you, Mase. And you know that. Now, I'm upset because they know what Lil C said. And they speaking about what Lil C said, but don't know shit they self. Lil C said when the Muslim guys start shooting that Big, they all jumped out the car. Some of them ran in the back of the car. I know D-Rock and Paul had ran down the street because one time we got back up there with the car and we did because we had blew the light. Let me just tell right here. We blew the light. I told Kenny, run the next 3 lights. I said this shit 1,000 times, getting tired of saying it. Told him to run the next 3 lights. We blew the light. Big and them stopped at the light. When Big got shot, his driver put the car in park and jumped out. For you people that don't know. So now, when D-Rock and Paul get back, Lucy said he was hiding behind the van when it happened. He was hiding behind the Suburban. Sorry about that. He was hiding behind the Suburban. I'm saying this, that they talking about and laughing about security didn't shoot, and if the world's greatest rapper, #1 on the label, get killed, May said that his life don't mean anything. Well, I guess, Mace, you got that #1 spot. Or you wanted that #1 spot. Because you didn't tell Big. You didn't tell Big, bro. And you still didn't get the #1 spot. Because Diddy took it. If you going to talk, bro, name names. If you going to say something about motherfucker, say their name. Cam, I got a lot of respect for you, bro. And that's because of my man D. Ferg had a lot of respect for you. I don't know you personally. I used to see you come to Franklin Plaza, and you know I used to come to Franklin Plaza. He used to come in and out my building back in the day. Bruh, did nothing go down in this city that I didn't know about? I'm just talking about because people used to tell me people needed favors, people wanted me to do certain things. Just for instance, Mike, check this out. One of 50 guys. You ever heard of Maserati Fox?
Nah, I never heard of him.
Look it up. He was an underground rapper. He had just got out of jail. His name was Maserati Fox. He called me from jail. Yo, Gene, I'm about to get out. 50 gonna do this campaign on me. I'm about to blow and everything like that. Because he was hot before he went to jail. I need you to do my security. I made a couple of phone calls. I said, yo, called him up. Yo, Mozzie, I can't do security for you, man, but we could talk at a later date. He said, where you at? Where you at? I said, I'm on 116 at Chic Barbershop. He was like, I'm coming through there. Him and my man Fidel came through there. Fidel was managing. Let me see if I got Fidel. You letting people look at the number. I'm gonna see if I got Fidel's number. And I know you don't usually do this on your videos, but hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see something. This is crazy. The reason I'm doing this, because this dude was a big dude in the streets in Queens.
Yo, Big Gene, what's up?
Fidel.
What's good?
Is that? Yo, this is my man Fidel. I'm on the Art of Dialogue right now, Fidel.
Okay. Good evening. Good evening. How are you?
Yo, Fidel,
Yes, sir.
what was you to Maserati Fox?
I was his manager.
And what happened to Maserati Fox?
He passed away.
How he passed away, Fidel?
He was doing time, and right when he was about to come home, I introduced y'all over the phone. When he got out, I took him straight to you. At this time, you was one of New York's head parole officers, and he wanted you to be his bodyguard. And you told him at this minute right now you can't get into that because you was hearing stuff from the street. He got some stuff that he got to clean up before you could actually manage him. Could be a security.
Right? Didn't 50 Cent tell him that he wanted him to come to his house and be safe?
Yes.
Right. So now,
You told him not to go back to the hood. You told him to move out to Jersey or something like that.
move out to Jersey or go to 50's house.
Or 50's house. That's what you said to him. Yes, you did. You did say that.
What did y'all come to see me at?
We come to see you at a barbershop in Harlem.
Right.
I was just coming from. Actually, we was on our way from the Diamond District. We went to pick up a chain and a ring, and then we stopped. Well, we had to see. We're supposed to be and get up with you from the first day he got out, so we had to pull up on you. You know.
Right.
You gave him the great words. You know. If he had listened to you, he would still be living this day. I mean, you're not God or anything, but he would have been living. You know.
He got killed a week later, right?
I would say maybe 5 or 6 days later.
Right. Thanks, Fidel. All right.
All right, Jimmy.
All right. I'm gonna holler at you. Salute.
All right, cool. All right.
Where you at, Fidel? Oh, he left. I did that for a reason, Mighty. And the reason I did that, I got a lot of clown out here trying not to respect what I used to do. I earned my right to do what I did. You understand? I earned my right. I used to look out for a lot of cats, good, bad, or indifferent. I got guys on the internet threatening me, talking about what they gonna do. No, they wouldn't bust a grape in a wine factory, wouldn't fight their way out of a wet paper bag. but they want to believe and make other people believe that Gene Deal is some snitch. Gene Deal, because he was an officer, he may be soft and everything like that. Let me tell you something, Mighty. This is about respect and earning your respect. There's no way that Mase or Cam got a right to disrespect the bad boy security because Mase wasn't even there. You understand? And they know, and he know, I came and got him. And Mase said, yo, Big Gene, why you here? Why you here? He said, Big Gene, I'm all right, I'm all right. I said, if you was all right, why am I here? I put my life on the line, and I wasn't getting a dime for Mase. I was Puff bodyguard. You see who got out of Cali, right? I got to live with the fact that it wasn't two of me, it wasn't three of me, it was just me. I had my principle and I did what I was supposed to do for him. Don't laugh and joke when you didn't do what you were supposed to do for your label mate, for a person that you said you respected, a person that you did music with. Should I laugh about the fact that you wanted that number one spot so bad? You didn't tell Big. They want to kill you, man. These niggas want to kill you out here. Don't go nowhere. Big Gene is right. Don't go to the party. All these niggas talk all that shit. I was getting paid by Puff. But I told Big, my man, don't go to this party. One of y'all gonna die tonight. I'm getting home. They need to stop playing, bro. This shit is real life. But this internet will have the fake niggas looking real and the real niggas looking fake. That's all I gotta say. I appreciate you, Mike.
Gene Deal, man. Great interview, my guy.
I appreciate you. I'm going to drink my Wanted. It's gonna be in the stores soon. That's my liquor, Mighty. Wanted, gonna be in the store soon. Can you hand me those books right there? On Amazon, My World of Bodyguard and a Hip Hop Star by Gene Deal. Get the story from somebody who was there. Life After Death When Bodyguard and a Hip Hop Star by Gene Deal. Somebody who brings you closer to what's happening to hip hop than anybody who wrote a hip hop book. Thank you. I appreciate y'all here.